putting the pressure on their daughters to tie the knot. And yes, that includes my own mother, who at one point said, "Enough with the degrees already, when are you getting married?" So, of course, mothers want their daughters to be happy. But the statistics on later marriage mean that the ages that were considered too old to get married in the 1960s are when we were just warming up in 2006. Jessica, a 35-year-old entrepreneur I spoke with as I researched the book, summed it up nicely when she said that she believes for women in their 30s, our education is helping us. We now have the balance, the yin and the yang, the softness and the business success. One of the most common questions I get from swans is how best to achieve this balance. How do you talk about your success on a date without coming off sounding arrogant? How do you transition from your power suit go-getter mode into a softer date mode? Certainly it's a challenge. A third of single high-achieving women that I spoke with report that they tend to minimize their career or educational success in conversation when they first meet a man that they're interested in dating. Zara, a 26-year-old business school student, said that when she was an undergraduate in an Ivy League school, and I won't tell you which one, but I think you'll identify with the story, she and her friends used to fabricate identities that they assumed would be more attractive to men. She told me, "Senior year I spent spring break in Jamaica. My friends and I pretended that we were from Southern Mississippi State University, which doesn't exist as far as I know. We met all sorts of guys. We thought that they would be intimidated by us if they found out where we really went to school. They'd think we were argumentative, pushy feminazis. Really, we're traditional in a lot of ways, and we were afraid of being judged negatively like that." Zara was afraid that men would be intimidated by her success. Don't be. As we all know from those silly conversations, where'd you go to school? In New Jersey. Where in New Jersey? Central New Jersey. This tactic is terrible. So my advice to swans is as follows. Be honest about your achievements and who you are. Don't lie to a man about what you do. It's insulting to everybody. If you're lighthearted and fun, if he's attracted to you and finds you interesting, he's not going to care very much about your job description. But be open to meeting all sorts of different men as well. Remember, getting to know someone is not about comparing resumes. Jody, a 31-year-old graduate student I interviewed in California, said that when she's on a date, she tells men about her research, but she also plays up other aspects of herself, like politics, style, and her love of design. Jody is onto something here. According to the men that I interviewed and surveyed, today's smart young men are looking for a woman who is intelligent, passionate, self-confident, driven, fun. Nearly 3/4 of the men in my survey said a woman's career or educational success makes her more desirable as a wife. But they're also looking for a kind, understanding, and loving woman, so showing your many sides is important. Remember that great 1950s movie, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes? That may have been true then, but I think we need a new, more accurate cliche for this generation. Gentlemen prefer brains. My mom came up with that one. She really loves it. 85% of high-achieving single men are looking for a woman who is as or more ambitious. 79% of high-achieving men are looking for or already married to a woman who is as or more accomplished. And 3/4 of high-achieving married men said that they married a woman with equal or more education. So, like the title of my book says, smart men really are marrying smart women, and gentlemen really do prefer brains. And swans realize that smart men come in all sorts of different packages. In the past, women needed to marry for financial security, but now we're marrying for love and compatibility. And for high-achieving women, this may mean thinking outside the box a bit. If you're a high-flying corporate lawyer, perhaps you might want to marry a man with a more flexible career. If you're an investment banker, maybe a more creative and artistic type would bring out a new side of you. And as we know, but always need to be reminded, it's not about getting married. It's about meeting the right person and having a happy marriage. Both men and women need to search for an equal but complementary life partner. Okay, so we've men want to marry and are marrying smart women. But then what happens? Balancing career and family is the hot-button issue of the 21st century. And the conventional wisdom has always been that successful career women are less likely to have children and more likely to divorce. It's time to shatter these myths once and for all. The myth of the barren female executive holds that women delay marriage and childbirth to suit their career needs, and suddenly they realize it's too late to make babies. After delaying having children for years as they build their careers, they find that they have waited too long. The myth of the barren female executive is based on the assumption that women can be mothers or they can have successful careers, but not both. And of all of the myths that hold successful women back as they strive for excellence in their careers and happiness in their personal lives, I think this one may be the most damaging. But there is good news for this generation of smart, successful women. High-achieving married women have children at the same rates as all other married women. And recent data suggests that in some groups, high-achieving women are more likely to have children. Plus, 2/3 of the men in my survey agreed with the statement, smart women make better mothers. So it's time to let go of that myth of the barren female executive once and for all. And that conventional wisdom that successful women are more likely to divorce, it couldn't be further from the truth, despite what we've been hearing out of Hollywood recently. In fact, college graduates are less likely to divorce. And more specifically, families with highly educated mothers are half as likely to split. Only 16.5% of marriages in which the wife had a college education or more dissolved in the first 10 years, compared to 38% in which the wife only had a high school diploma. In the end, my take-home message today is relish in your education and your success. It's an advantage. It is not holding you back. And yes, there's a man out there for you, a smart man who is looking for a smart woman. It's time to shatter the myth that successful women are destined for single women. Swans, strong women achievers, no spouse, marry at the same rates as all other women. Your degrees aren't holding you back. Your title or job or industry isn't holding you back either. And even though we all think that our city is the worst place for dating, geography isn't it either. For swans in Washington, D.C., I've calculated this, the odds of marriage are terrific. A single 30 to 34-year-old woman with a master's degree who earns about $60,000 and lives right here in Washington, D.C., has an 85% chance of being married. This is according to 2006 U.S. Census data. For a 35 to 39-year-old woman with a professional degree who earns about $125,000 and lives here in Washington, she's got a 93% chance of being married. And for those of you who need proof, since you always do, visit my website and click on the odds of marriage calculator. My website is the title of my book, by the way, WhySmartMenMarrySmartWomen.com. So go to the website, go to the marriage calculator, and then you'll enter your age, education, income, and the size of the city where you live. And based on 2006 U.S. Census data, I'll tell you what your chances of being married are. Now, the fun part about this is I was on Good Morning America about 2.5 weeks ago, and they told their viewers to go to my website to do this odds of marriage calculator. On October 16th alone, 205,000 people visited my website to calculate their odds of marriage. So this is a rather popular tool. If it didn't crash then, it's not going to crash now, so go visit. Anyway, so my bottom line is that if you're an accomplished woman looking to balance your career and your professional life, the time is now. And we're going to open it up to questions. You guys have to ask some questions, otherwise I'll just pick on my friends. Okay, Jesse.
I loved your book. I think it's fantastic.
Totally unbiased.
One of my favorite parts was, I think a lot of this research that comes out, it's a newspaper article, a magazine, and they don't really bother to do a lot of the background. And I just love, maybe you could tell one or two of the stories from the surveys that you researched in preparation for your book.
Thank you, that's a great question. So there were two surveys that made me that really made me start to research this book. The first one was a survey out of the University of Michigan that said that men were looking to marry subordinate women, that men wanted to marry someone, their secretary rather than their peer.